We live?
Yep.
Awesome. We have everybody we need. Well, the only ones that matter anyway. Hey there, beer tubers. Welcome back to Beer Analysis 101 with your host Maxwell Starr. First beer analysis 101 of the year. We're actually kicking things off with a real beer analysis, even though it's dry January. It's debatable whether it's real beer or not. We are going to take a look at Guinness. I know it's not St. Patrick's Day, but I'm doing dry January, so we're going to do non-alcoholic beers at least for a couple of weeks. So this is Guinness 0%. We'll get more detail into that, but first off, let's introduce who we have with us, which a small panel here tonight, starting with Mr. Greg, or Mr. Lee, sorry.
Mr. Lee, yeah, I'm
How
here
did I
first.
screw that up? Fuck.
We look the exact same.
Yeah, well,
Greg's the bad friend. He's the one who's very late.
That's true. I'm a terrible friend. Shame on me.
I'm doing good. We'll see how that goes once I get into this dubious concoction. That at least it is doing the nitro cascade thing. So that's I would say comforting, but it's familiar.
Wow, it's true.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Lee. Let's go over to Mr. Greg. And Mr. Greg, who's, I guess, not quite identical to Lee because he's hasn't shaved his head in a while.
No, yeah, that's true. I do need to shave my head. But we both kind of look like human thumbs. So we're kind of that general culture. I won't say, first of all, say some bullshit because I have a Guinness glass, but it's a small Guinness glass. I don't even think I can fit the whole... I don't think I can fit the whole thing in here with the tall boy. I guess this is meant for a small Guinness, so fuck that shit. It's going to a GLB glass. And I've never had this before, and I'm actually kind of excited to try it. Will I? Oh, it's already bubbling up. All right, down the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Down the middle. Nice aggressive pour.
Gonna Clysack that pour.
Yeah, I'm Clyzacking that shit. Ooh.
No, this is the only acceptable time to do a fucking J. Terrio pour down the middle because it doesn't matter with the nitro.
Yeah, I think it probably would have still fit in that small glass, Greg.
Well, maybe we'll try it later on, but there you go. There's the Guinness.
You get a 4-pack. You had to buy a 4-pack of those.
I do have
other people who didn't show up tonight.
I do have, yes, Nick. Because Nick, even without my YouTube money, I still decided to be a good friend, and then I decided to be a bad friend by being late. So I feel like at this point, I even
we'll forgive that part because you forgot your phone, and it's really
kind of a
that's why you're. Anyway.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. I still would have been late if I didn't forget my phone. I just didn't answer you.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So let me put it back on me for a second here, and I'm going to bore everybody to death with the history on this beer. So I guess recap. We don't really have to talk about Guinness too much since we know who they are. Most viewers know who they are. We've talked to them on this panel before. Guinness is a brewery famously founded in 1759 in Dublin, Ireland, when brewer Arthur Guinness famously signed a 9,000-year lease. That's a really long-ass lease. On December 31st, 1759, to brewing space located at St. James Gate. Eventually, Guinness would begin exporting his great beers to Great Britain in 1769. The first dark porter style beers began brewed in 1778, and by the mid 1840s, Guinness's beer lineup had settled on their single stout porter, their double or extra stout, and stronger foreign extra stout for export. In more modern history, Guinness began using nitrogen in their beer in 1959, fundamentally changing the texture and flavor of the beer pretty much into what it is today. The idea being to simulate the sensation of drinking a draft pint at home. So that draft in the can, and they call it Guinness Draft. It's kind of neat that it's only been around since 1959. So it's relatively new inventions whenever they put these plastic widgets in the can. So as far as Guinness 0% goes, it was announced in October 2020 after a 4-year development process. Guinness 0.0% was created using a cold filtration process to remove the alcohol from the beer while preserving the flavor, and packaged in the same kind of cans with the iconic nitro widget that gives it the same classic cascade effect. First launched in July 2021, and then it was brought to Canada finally in late 2023. But yeah, like this cold filtration process, I was reading about it, where they use cold filtration to not temperature shock the beer the beer itself too much, so that it doesn't alter the flavor profile. while it removes the alcohol. So I don't know. I guess it's like reverse ice beer.
Yeah, I guess in a way.
Sounds like it. Maybe they freeze it and then they just skim
they
the
chip
alcohol
away.
off.
Yeah, they just chip away all the alcohol instead of the water.
Well, yeah, it's the alcohol doesn't freeze. So there's anyway. All right. So yeah.
Wonder what they do with all that sweet alcohol. Do they then make like a malt liquor out of what's left over?
That'd be interesting.
I was looking on Guinness's Untapped, and apparently at one point they made a brewery-only release of a Guinness Imperial Stout, like 10% Imperial Stout, which is still not true Imperial Stout. It has to be over 11, isn't it? Or 12?
I mean, 1. I think an Imperial. I think I've seen some breweries will advertise Imperial Stouts as like Wellington has an 8% Imperial Stout. So
I was making a joke about it has to be high ABV in order to be Imperial Stout, but yes, Imperial Stouts I've seen as low as like. I think
for barrel age, it has to be 11.9. 11.9 is the supposed limit in Ontario, even though no one really follows it.
I think it was like Upstreet and PEI made an Imperial Stout that was like in the 7s somewhere, and I refused to buy it. I'm like, that's anyway. So yeah, let's get down to histories with this beer, and I'm assuming there's probably not going to be much history here. So let's just talk to Lee for about half a second when he says no.
I knew I had it in my my local Sobeys that I could buy it, and they're actually kind of ever expanding de-alcoholized like beer and spirits that's like there now. It's like on one side you got like the grenadine and the fucking tonic water and that shit for like mixed drinks, and the bitters and all that shit, and then right next to it now you've got like this. I think we're up to like, it used to be just like 4 feet. I think it's like 8 feet now, where it's just, it's de-alcoholized beer. It's de-alcoholized mixed drinks and some other like in between weird things as well. Like, I'm trying to think of what it is. From like martini, some of their mixed, like liqueurs and stuff like that, but just de-alcoholized versions of them. So yeah, that was there, and I was like, okay, yeah, I can get that, no problem. So I picked it up, and yeah, that's my history with it.
All right, thanks, Lee. Let's move on to Mr. Grigori and your history. Well, you've got more history than Greg because you finished your first can.
That was my first. No, I have more history than Lee because the beer is history. I just drank it all.
The beer is actually history at this point,
and I'm this might be a bit of a spoiler alert, but I'm actually quite happy I was forced to buy a 4-pack because I'm going to crack open the next one in a second. So, yeah, there's my history.
There you go. All right, I'll talk about my history, and my history is as extensive as well. This is technically my third can because I bought the 4-pack at Superstore it was on sale for $10 last week, and I had 2 on the weekend, and I drank them back to back just like Greg is doing right now. We'll get into what my thoughts are on this in a moment, but let's read the one comment we have from Mr. Scott Myers. Hail to the Guinness.
That's Hail, not Heil.
Not that Heil Guinness.
Oh.
No. Not touching Scott's German.
I was gonna say it's Guinness, not Volkswagen.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Yeah. It's probably going to be a short episode tonight, I think.
All right, let's see if this will fit into this glass or not.
I think I had a little bit left over when I poured mine. I had the same kind of glass. It's that iconic, like it's that typical glass they give you for free if you buy an 8-pack at the liquor store.
Yeah, that's where I got it. So yeah, I've still got, if I were to estimate, maybe an 1/8 left.
Yeah, the real ones are the ones you find in the bars.
That's the ones you got to steal.
Yeah.
Scott says Guinness is English, is it not? Don't tell that to the Irish.
Well, some of the Irish will agree, some won't.
Yeah. Well, okay.
So technically, if you stop the pour and then top it up, you can just barely fit it all in. So there you go. But well, exactly. There you go. But unfortunately, stopping the pour, it's kind of like well, to use Nick's sexual analogy, it's kind of gives you a little bit of blue balls.
Yeah.
But it is very pretty looking once you've like I always say, regardless of whether you like Guinness or hate Guinness, I think it is one of the prettiest looking beers once it's poured.
Oh yeah, they've totally I mean, I'll just say right now, they've totally re-replicated everything you know about how a traditional Guinness that you buy today looks. Like it's the exact same experience, and I dare say, it tastes and drinks almost exactly the same as a regular Guinness. That's at what 4.2% is what the alcohol is these days, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I'll have to look it up, but
I know
it's 4 point something. I think it is 4.2.
The only difference I'd say is I think this actually might have a teeny bit more flavor than a regular Guinness.
Yeah, 4.2.
There's like a little bit of more of a creamy sweetness to this, I find, than in a regular Guinness.
Mm-hmm.
That I actually kind of quite like. That actually makes me like, hey, I enjoy drinking this like more than just like, like a Boddington's or something where it's just like shaving cream in a bottle, liquid shaving cream or whatever.
Yeah, I had a Guinness the other day, and there's definitely a little bit of a bitterness in the middle that you get with that you don't get this. This is definitely a little bit sweeter, but I don't think it's overly sweet.
I feel like the first couple of swigs is a bit more cardboardy than regular Guinness when you first drink it, but it kind of almost like the rest of the flavors get in the way, and you stop tasting that after a bit. So it actually comes out to taste a whole lot more like a regular Guinness, except for maybe a little bit more bitter. Anybody noticing that? It's almost like a little bit more bitter.
Oh, I'd say regular Guinness is more bitter, personally.
Yeah, no, I'm on Greg's side with this one. Like, also, I remember you were saying during the weekend when we were watching a movie and you cracked open one of them. You were like, there was like you got like a skunkiness for a brief moment or something like that.
Well, funkiness
or funkiness. Like I didn't get any of that with this. It just it smelled just like a regular Guinness. But I'm with Greg here, where it's just like it's got kind of like a coffee creamer sweetness to it, kind of thing. Okay. Like that's kind of where I'd equate it.
Lactose.
Yeah, almost lactose beer, honestly.
No, you're right. Actually, it does come off as like a lactose. It's got that lactose almost like sweetness, but with a hint of bitterness to it, and maybe that's what I'm getting.
There's no lactose, but there is fructose syrup in it. So
yeah, that's probably what we're getting, right?
Mm.
So I mean, I don't know if they even list the ingredients on a regular Guinness, but I'd be curious to know which of these ingredients are in a regular Guinness or not.
Yeah, I don't think they do, because they mentioned like hop extract and stuff in this too. I don't think they list that on a regular Guinness.
I love how this is coming off more of like a trio review rather than a BA 101.
Yeah, I mean,
it is interesting.
Well.
It's a discussion.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's actually pretty good discussion there. No, I don't really want to spoil too much about my thoughts. I think we all know where this is going, but the nitro widget in it sells it for me. Like, you can forgive a few flaws in this beer, but the biggest thing you get out of a Guinness that you love drinking the alcoholic Guinness for is that nitrogenated body and the creamy mouthfeel. You still get that perfectly in this beer, and that's to get that real beer experience out of a pint. This replicates Guinness extremely well.
Yeah.
Like, that flavor profile is so close to the real stuff. Like, this is my fourth can of it I'm on now. I'm probably going to buy more of it for the month.
Yeah, I think we got a contender for best de-alcoholized. I think the only thing here is this it does have the body of a Guinness. It does have the mouthfeel, so like it comes off as thicker and more hefty going down. I feel like you could probably have a couple of these and be kind of good for the night, whereas you could drink more of, like, say, a Compliments de-alcoholized beer, right? Like those go down, I think, a bit easier. But But I think other than that, like it's on the level of like the Compliments fucking de-alkalized beer is like kind of one of the best examples out there in the market to get.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess we've already given kind of our final thoughts. Do you want me to circle around and give our ratings then?
I'd say so. I'd say so.
We might as well finish this up real quick.
I think we've had a good discussion.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All right. So Lee, you're up.
All right. So I guess we're as far as I don't know about other people, but when I grade on style for de-alkalized, I'm just purely rating on de-alkalized beer. Like, does it taste like a beer? Does it do the same things a regular beer does, other than get you drunk? And yes, it does. It's pretty much a note perfect recreation of a alcoholized Guinness. It kind of feels like maybe what you would get on like the Star Trek: The Next Generation and 10 Forward, where they're all teetotalers, so all their stuff is like synthahol and all that bullshit. Like, give me the synthahol Guinness, and this is it, right? So yeah, I feel like that's what this is. It's it gets a 10 out of 10 for style and personal preference. I like it a lot. It's very easy to drink. Again, it tastes just like a Guinness, if not maybe slightly a little bit better. I'm gonna throw an 8.5. We'll sit at that. I think maybe the fact that it's a little too thick. Like I don't know if I'd do 4 of these as opposed to like, hey, maybe I'll have 6 of the Compliments de-alkalized beer or whatever. But yeah, no, it's good. It's really good.
All right, thank you, Lee. Let's go over to Greggy.
I think most of what's needs to be said about this has already been said. So I'll say, I went to a restaurant the other day. I mean, I know Guinness. I know some people love it, some people hate it. I tend to be more towards the love it side. Or at least I strongly like it, especially since normally where I can get it is usually places that it's like, well, you got a Molson Canadian, you got a Coors Light, or you can have a Guinness. Like, and actually, I tried a new bar the other day, a sports bar, and when I asked for an IPA, she said, we have Keith's in a can. I said, okay, well, I know the kind of place I'm in right now. So but they had Guinness on tap, and I enjoyed it, a real Guinness. And then I went on to their house lager, which was made by Molson, which just tasted like a higher ABV Coors Light, which was okay for $6 a pint. But yeah, I was happy to have that Guinness to start off to kind of break the seal and have, some flavor in my life. And I'll say this one is almost exactly like that beer. Now that was on tap. This is in a draft can. I do feel the Guinness is just a tad bit more bitter. Whereas this one I find is more sweeter. The coffee creamer, I think Lee said coffee creamer, is almost a perfect analogy where it's almost like you almost have like a regular Guinness is like, because a regular Guinness can be a little on the sweet side too, I find. At least compared to like your regular old imperial stout or something like that. So I mean, I almost compare it to like a Guinness is like a coffee with like 1 creamer in it, and like this is like a coffee with 2 creamers in it. It just has that little less edge to it. It doesn't really have quite that bitterness, but otherwise it's
creamer, not exactly milk or cream, just the creamer.
Yeah.
I'm kind of getting almost a creamerness from it. And again, I'd be curious to know. I might have to try to look up, see if I can figure out what the ingredients of regular Guinness are, because I'm curious if they add any extra, sugars in this that isn't in the original product. But I mean, this is really good. Like I always expect there to be a compromise with beer. I mean, I think my favorite when everything's taken into account, including price, because I think de-alkalized beer is often too expensive. Compliments is probably my overall favorite, because the only thing I'll say with Compliments is I do find there is quite a bit of batch variation to it, and that probably has to do with which warehouse it sat in for how long.
Oh, yeah.
And it's never refrigerated either. So, if it's been in the store for 4 months, then it's been sitting there.
It's been there for like half a year.
Yeah, so I mean, we always keep that. We always keep that in the fridge, and I will say, I think that also punches above its weight class, especially since it's so cheap, and it is better than some alcoholic lagers, quite frankly. Like I don't get the offensive corn syrup taste to it. So that one is good. This one is better in terms of that. The only part it's not better in his price. It is a little bit more expensive. It's only like 40 cents a 4-pack, less than the real Guinness. So if alcohol matters to you, then I mean, there's really no reason to buy this if you're not trying to cut down on alcohol. But otherwise, yeah, it is. I will say right now, the best non-alcoholic beer or de-alkalized beer, whatever you want to refer to it as, in that whole category. Easily the best. It is a 10 out of 10 for style. Personal preference. I only have a few issues with it, and I'm nitpicking, and these would almost be the same issues I have with Guinness. After the second one, I almost feel like I need a break from it because it is a heavy beer. So I think if I was to try to drink the whole 4-pack, I probably might try and drink the whole 4-pack tonight, but I don't know. I didn't hear what you said, Nick.
Do the Guinness gauntlet with
Guinness
it. Yes.
gauntlet.
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't want to puke on camera. But that's the only thing. Like, if you want to knock him back, I do feel it is a little bit of a heavy beer. But that being said, it also leaves me satisfied. Like right now, I'm having this one. I don't feel like I need to crack open the next one right away and guzzle it down. Which usually when you're drinking lagers, you do want to crack open the next one and keep going. That's really my only nitpick about it. Maybe a touch after drinking 2 cans, maybe a touch sweet for my taste, but it's not bad. Like, and I'm pretty anal about sweet stuff, and I don't find this too bad, but maybe a tad more bitterness would make me happier. But other than those nitpicks, and again, personal preference, if I'm in the mood for a non-alcoholic beer, I want to cut back or whatever, 9.5. It's, I really don't think I can ask more for it other than giving it a few nitpicks. And this is going to be a staple in my fridge from now on because I am trying to cut back. I'm not officially doing a dry January, but I am trying to cut down on booze consumption. And this is going to be a staple in my fridge. I'm going to be buying a 4-pack of this probably every week because nights where I'm just like, oh, I could really use a beer. I'm just going to crack one of these open. Like nights that I'm not planning to drink anyway, I'm like, going to crack one of these open, maybe have 1 or 2, have a Compliments blonde, and good to go.
All right. Wow.
So
awesome. Great.
If you're somebody who really needs to quit booze, like let's say you're a raging alcoholic or you have health problems or something like that, and you absolutely have to quit the booze, I think this would actually be an excellent, assuming you like Guinness to begin with, this would be an excellent transition to try to get you clean and sober. Because honestly, other than not getting drunk, I wouldn't know. Like if you handed me this and didn't tell me, I would not know that this is not a real Guinness.
Yeah.
Unless I was comparing side by side or something.
So you're saying it was well worth buying a 4-pack of.
Yes, it was absolutely worth the 4-pack. I'll be buying more 4-packs of this. This is, I really hope that non-alcoholic beer goes in this direction because they hit the nail on the head. I hope other companies figure out how to make great versions of their products that are non-alcoholic and other people can enjoy because not everyone can drink or should be drinking.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Greg.
Here we go.
Turn. There isn't really much I can say that hasn't already been said tonight. I guess one of the things I would say about it is like, I don't know. I feel like it's coming off as more bitter to me. Maybe it's like one of those things where like it's that kind of bitterness is like cilantro or it tastes like soap for some people. And I just feel like that little coffee creamerness that you're describing. Like I know when I have something with lactose sugar in it, I get something that's like a mildly sweet thing, but it has this little hint of like a chalky bitterness kind of thing. And I'm not saying this beer tastes like chalk so much. I just think that like, compared to normal Guinness, like when I first take the funkiness I'm talking about when I first take a swig of this, maybe that was just sitting on the shelf for way too long. But I don't think it's been at Superstore for all that long. It was getting kind of this extra little bit of cardboardiness, like the kind of those like little funky notes that I would get out of a lot of non-alcoholic beers. But in this case here, that leveled off after the first sip, and just after that, I'm drinking like creamy fucking Guinness and if I drink it faster, it tastes like a real fucking Guinness. Like, and I'm not just saying that. I'm saying like when I drink other non-alcoholic beers, like say Libra beers, and I'm drinking them fast enough to make myself think I'm drinking a hazy IPA, even though it's not really anywhere good, as good as that. Just this is almost like, I wouldn't say it's indistinguishable from the real thing, but it's so close. Like, this is remarkably similar to regular Guinness that, like everybody else has been saying here, they hit the nail on the head as far as the non-alcoholic beer conversion is. They nailed it. This is like probably, if not, like it is probably the best non-alcoholic beer that I've ever had. And that's saying something, because like regular Guinness, I've always had a soft spot for regular Guinness. I know Lee doesn't give it 5 out of 5 anymore, but I always have a soft spot for this thing. Like, even though it's only like a mediocre stout, it's still one of my creature comfort beers. That was one of the first craft beers that I got, craft beers that I ever got into. It was my gateway beer into any stuff other than lagers. And if I was to give up alcohol altogether, I think I would keep these regularly in my fridge because they're just so good. And I just drank my last 2. I wish I'd picked up more today. But I'm concurring with everybody else, and this is going to be rare because I don't usually give 10s to anything. But as far as non-alcoholic beer for the style, it's a 10. Like, I don't know how much better you could get than this. As for overall enjoyment, maybe not Greg level, but I'm going to match Lee's 8.5. It's pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
All right, so while we do the math, anybody want to read all the comments from Scott?
Sure, I'll read them.
All right.
All right, so we got past the whether it was English or not, and he says, well, half and half then, because we said Irish and half the Irish world, not half the Irish, but some Irish are kind of English loyalists. And then Scott goes, stopping the poor from setting themselves on fire. Wow. Okay. Talking about a different kind of pour there, of course. He said, Scott says that I am a creamy sweetness.
Wow.
Well, thank you, sir.
Wow.
He used to say that to me.
Yeah, he says it to everybody.
I missed when he said it to me.
Yeah, he just moves on from guy to guy. It just he takes our hearts and he throws them away. He says 0.0% beer, all the taste, all the calories, none of the long-term benefits. Well, there's only 70 calories per can, so that's fairly low.
Yeah, I don't know what a regular Guinness is, but
it's definitely not 70. It's got to be quite a bit higher, I'm guessing. Scott throwing some shade on his former employers here, saying Moosehead always had their beer on the shelf for months before sending it out and never in a fridge. Wow. Insider secret there. And Scott says, if I need to drive after a party, I would normally bring a non-alcoholic beer to the party and still partake. I think he's talking about the brand partake. I would assume that's the joke there. Well done. Well played.
Well, I've done that before. If I was like on call for work or had to drive home, I would bring like a pack of like my go-to used to be Grolsch Radler. Because you could, it was the lemonade would just mask whatever shitty non-alcoholic beer flavors you got out of it in the first place, and it was a light beer anyway. So
yeah.
Random aside, but this actually goes pretty good with the Guinness 0%. So I'm drinking a blonde lager right now because this is actually not a great batch. It is quite cold though, and the kind of the lingering taste of the Guinness actually kind of masks a little bit of the problems with this beer. So actually these two go well together. So you could interchange them and have a good drinking night and still be sober.
Oh, nice. We got Raider in the chat saying Guinness monster.
Guinness.
Here we go.
Or Guinness monster, of course. And then Scott Myers asked the question, what's next week's beer?
Oh,
we'll spoil that in a moment. We'll actually get to that right after we talk about what the ratings for tonight is. I don't think it's really that much of if you've been watching the whole thing, it's not really a stretch of imagination, but it's the first time ever we've had a perfect 10 on something.
It's a 10.
It's fucking 10. Style. Non-alcoholic beer. Fucking 10.
There we go.
All right. 8.8 overall. That's a class act as far as beers go. So let's go to the magic question, which is what's next week's beer? We are going to do a BYOB episode on, of course, non-alcoholic beers. So yeah. So big stretch of the imagination. I'm doing dry January this month.
Can I bring
this? You can if you want. So can Lee. But
excellent.
No, I told you.
That'd be funny if you did.
Yeah, like I told you, I picked up another beer, so I'd have at least another week covered.
That'd be funny if we did we did a BA 101 like BYOB and all brought the same can and the same Guinness. It's just like, yeah, we want to drink this again.
Hey, Nick, whose beer would you rather drink? Lee's Guinness or Greg's Guinness?
Both.
Yeah. We got
All
Brandon in the chat too.
Oh yeah.
Saying that calorie number seems pretty low. Well, it's what it says in the can. I'm drinking my last 4 Stella. He had for a few weeks, and I think these are around 120-ish calories per bottle, and they're only 330 milliliters. Well, yeah, take into account these are non-alcoholic Guinness, so there's no alcohol to add up the.
Yeah. I mean, this one's
the calorie count of a regular Guinness. Isn't Guinness like regular Guinness like kind of low too?
I guess it's supposed to be somewhat lower than what people say, but at the same time they have that famous claim. Oh, it's like having a breakfast in a glass or whatever, a meal in a glass.
Right.
12 fluid ounces, 125.
That's a 568 imperial pint. So that's not the can.
Mm-hmm.
So 125 calories in a big pint glass, like the big
tall boy is 210 calories.
There you go.
According to Google AI, anyway.
So this is like less than half the calories of a regular Guinness in the non-alcoholic version.
Then again, take it with a grain of salt because
12 fluid ounces. This is 10, I think, fluid ounces, isn't it?
Hold on. 20 fluid 20 ounces is 568. So hold on, that's more than a.
That's bigger. That's more than this. So 125 calories for more than that. So
yeah, that's true because that's the big can of Guinness I think you can buy. But the 4-pack of Guinness, they're 440 milliliters. So, anyways, it's not a ton. Like it's not as much as a craft beer. Probably for a 440 milliliter, you're talking in the 150, 160 range, which isn't crazy.
Yeah.
Apparently it's more. It's 154 calories in a 440 ml Guinness draft can.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Either way, that's like as far as beers go, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean 70 is right around all the low calorie beers that are marketed out there right now. Right around, like there was Molson 60 or whatever at one point, wasn't there, and some other shit like.
Oh, was it Molson 67? Remember the
67? Yeah, something like that. Radar saying you can literally see the arm giving you a bag of cash with the Guinness logo on it. Oh, go fuck yourself, Radar. It was actually pretty good for non-alcohol beer. So you can eat our ass.
Have another Guinness, Craig.
Put that in your fucking beer nomicron, smoke it, bitch.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, if he eats asses the way Guy eats a burrito, I don't know. That could get messy.
Jesus, Guy looks like he's fucking just putting like the whole Kama Sutra into every time he eats a fucking anything like that. It's gross. Blasphemy.
I've never known someone to slit a burrito down the middle, but here we are.
Yeah. Brandon saying sorry I wasn't as active tonight. I got home later because I needed to stop at the funeral home for a while for one of
Brandon,
my best friend's dads.
Don't apologize.
Stop apologizing.
Don't dead dad shame, and don't fucking dead dad by proxy shame. It was one of your friends' dead dads. Still don't do it.
Yeah.
And he says he might get a non-alcoholic for next week. Well,
nice.
There we go.
That's just as good as you saying you're gonna do it, and you signed blood on a contract saying you're gonna do it.
Brandon should bring non-alcoholic Guinness.
I want to see Brandon knock back like 12 0.5% alcohol beers and still call him sick on Thursday.
Yeah. Hey man, gotta do what you gotta do. But yeah, hopefully Brandon shows up next week. So yeah, just find yourself a non-alcoholic anything there, dude, and show up.
Yeah, I'll be coming back in on Friday. I was like, oh, I didn't sleep well enough on Thursday or on Wednesday. Sorry. Alrighty, so
Hey,
there you go.
As good an excuse as any.
Right. Okay, you know what? That was actually a really short episode tonight. It's almost like classic Lee BA 101 short episode because we pretty much just talked about the beer because it was hard to talk about anything else.
Yeah, I don't go for that bullshit that you guys try to throw in there. All the extra
3-hour padded episode.
We'll like to do the padding in the episode where we like to talk. It's like I like to kick up the shit show kind of thing too, right? So like it gets people talking a little bit more entertainment value than just talking about the beer sometimes. But then certain people
but we don't have any.
Never talk about the beer.
Yeah, we don't have any. We don't have any of the regular circus clowns in the fucking show tonight, so it's fine. We got.
What are you talking about? You guys are here.
Yeah, well, it's that lady.
So there's an opening on the podcast this weekend. Apparently now.
It's that lady Lee that always derails us. You know, she's always telling us about when she used to work at the Moose and all that. It's like, come on, can we just focus on the damn beer?
Mm-hmm.
Lee used to work at the Moose, or I thought she worked at Blue Dogs. Yeah. All right.
Moose Dogs.
Moose Dogs.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I've got the last little swaller of Guinness. I guess that means that we're gonna take the shit offline real early.
We go on the Discord, or we just Discord? Yeah, we'll go with Discord.
We're going Discord.
Yeah. Alrighty. Yeah. So thanks for watching, folks. Thanks for watching Scott and Brandon and Radar. Yep. We'll chat with you guys later. Cheers.
Speeders killed those women.
Yep. Penis on screen. Penis. Look at Nick's penis.